everyone to TJ and the Grumpy Old Man, the twice-a-week sports podcast where we talk sports and shoot the shit. I'm your host, TJ, and with me here, as always, is the Grumpy Old Man. They say there is no shame in his game because he is always the same.
That's me.
Grump, how are you?
Fine, thank you. Yourself?
Oh, man, I tell you, a lot of things always going on in the world of sports, and there's a lot of things to cover. That's why we do this show twice a week, right? We do it every Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and every single Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Yeah, TJ time is not Eastern Standard Time. It's TJ time. So as you can tell, it's 9:15 today, and Sunday will probably be 8:15 because that's just the way TJ rolls.
Man, oh man. And I'll also tell you this. We're going live. Again, people enjoyed the live stream during the game. We last covered Michigan against Ohio State. This week, we're going to be covering on Saturday afternoon Baylor, Grumpy Old Man, against Oklahoma State. Big matchup. College football playoff implications are heavy in that game.
Yeah, I'm expecting Oklahoma State to win that game and move on to the college football playoff series.
Oh, are you Grumpy? So you've got them penciled in. You think they're going to leapfrog over Cincinnati?
I think Alabama's going to get knocked out. Cincinnati could lose to Houston. If they lose to Houston, they'll probably be ranked, 20th next week because they suck. Cincinnati's no good. I'm sorry.
Is the loss to Houston, is it that detrimental to them, Grumpy? You think they dropped to 20th?
I don't think they're that good. If they lose a game, they're not going to be in the Final Four.
I tell you, Grumpy. Yeah, to nobody's shock, right? The college football playoffs rankings came out on Tuesday. Grump, Oklahoma State sitting at number 5. If they win against Baylor, they're in. It's as simple as that. I mean, think about it. Oklahoma State, who the hell would have ever thought at the beginning of this season, Oklahoma State could be making the college football playoffs?
Not me. Like I said, this year's kind of been topsy-turvy, right? The usual teams are not in there. Clemson, number 20. Oklahoma, number 14. Alabama's at number 3. Ohio State, number 7. I mean, here's the thing. If Alabama loses to Georgia, there's no way they're getting in the Final Four. They have to beat Georgia to stay in. There's a way you could see Notre Dame, your favorites, get into the top 4. If Alabama and Cincinnati both lose, Oklahoma State and Notre Dame will be 1 through 4. They'll be 3 and 4.
Man, you're asking an awful lot. You need a lot of different things to happen in order to have Notre Dame slip in their way into the college football playoffs. I mean, what does Brian Kelly think about their chances of making the college football playoffs? Obviously not very much. Brian Kelly leaves. It happened, I believe, late Saturday or Sunday evening, or maybe it was early or late Monday evening. He leaves Notre Dame with the bowl game and possible college football playoff implications looming, right? Just like as you mentioned, if Cincinnati and Alabama lose, they're both in. Notre Dame's in, no doubt about it. And you're having Brian Kelly leave to LSU. Man, oh man, you want to talk about something that's topsy-turvy crazy. Never in a million years would I think that Brian Kelly would leave Notre Dame in the state that the program is at the moment and go to LSU. Yeah,
I don't understand that either, honestly. To me, that's a lateral move at best to LSU. And I'm just saying because they play in the SEC. Notre Dame is one of the marquee universities for college football, always, historically. When you're doing good there, you're going to be ranked in the top 5 every year, regardless of who you play, just because of the name Notre Dame. And that's what you're seeing right now.
But, I mean, I didn't get the move either. I thought it was odd. I mean, he got paid, right? You just have to figure, hey, it's all about the green. Everybody wants to get paid. Lincoln Riley leaves. I don't think necessarily it was about the name and how big the fan base is. He wanted to get paid. And that's the same thing Brian Kelly did. He wanted to get his ass paid. Now, Grump, it's funny. I've got the clips of Brian Kelly's goodbye speech to Notre Dame. Did you happen to hear anything about it, Grump?
No. I don't care enough about Brian.
It's left a lot. It's left a lot of Notre Dame fans a little unhappy with Brian Kelly. It's 4 minutes. The speech was 4 minutes. He was in and out of his 7 a.m. morning meeting with the players in less than 10 minutes. He was driving off campus.
Well, I I guess here's your hat. What's your hurry? He wanted to get out. I mean, there had to be something else brewing underneath for him to leave. Like I said, it just makes no sense to leave. Yeah, I understand the money, but I mean, Notre Dame could come off the hip and give him more money. I mean, I'm just kind of baffled by the move. I could see if Notre Dame was 5-7 or something like that. Okay, but I mean, they're 10-1 or 11-1. I don't understand it. And like I said, it's a marquee university. Confusing for me. I was surprised by that.
It is. It is odd. There's no doubt about it. I was shocked by it as well. Alexander saying, "Hey TJ, or hey Grumpy, hey TJ, how are you guys doing tonight? Leaving PF Chang's, had dinner with the family. How about the strike with MLB? I'm very disappointed. We're going to talk about that for certain. Want to talk about some college football first here. We're going to definitely talk about the MLB strike next. Forgot to mention too, if you are a new listener to this podcast, I invite you to stay a while. Check it out, see what we've got to offer, and hit that subscribe button. Like on Facebook and follow on Twitter. Now, I'll tell you, the Brian Kelly thing shocks the hell out of me, but I don't know what shocks me more, Brian Kelly leaving or Notre Dame hiring Marcus Freeman to be the new head coach. Again, I'm not in the locker room. I have no idea what type of effect he has on the players, but this is it's an odd development for certain, right? He's been there as a defensive coordinator for 1 year. He was a defensive coordinator at Cincinnati before that. Not a guy that has a whole lot of experience. He's only 35 years old, Grump. He's a younger coach, and I really thought that they were going to go more. I know there aren't a lot of big name guys available, but Notre Dame, you're right, does carry weight. I feel like they could have their pick at the litter, if they saw an up and coming coach that actually had head coach experience. Marcus Freeman, first time going to be a head coach here for the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, and he's only had 1 year of experience with the team. It was a little baffling to hire.
What's a Marcus Freeman?
Marcus Freeman is hold on. What do you mean? What's a Marcus Freeman? He's the new head coach at Notre Dame.
Okay, you know what this reminds me of? When they hired Jerry Faust from Moeller High School to replace Lou Holtz. That's what it reminds me of. And you know how that turned out? Miserably. This guy, you're Notre Dame. You don't need to offer your job to a defensive coordinator who's been there for 1 year. You can have your pick of the litter. I mean, what was the hurry? What was the hurry?
I don't know either. I mean, I guess they wanted to keep the recruiting class intact, but I'm sorry. I just don't get it. Maybe they saw what happened with Lincoln Riley. They're like, holy crap. And we'll talk about that, Grump, right? Lincoln Riley, we'll talk about the aftermath. It seems to have been, again, like following through. Hey, you've seen the aftermath that after Lincoln Riley is left. Maybe they thought they were going to see a similar item at Notre Dame when Brian Kelly left, but it has not been the same. But I'm just shocked that they were so quick and proactive there with the hire. I just thought there were better options and candidates with more experience.
Did they even look outside their own locker room? Doesn't seem like it. I mean, like I said, if you're Notre Dame and you come knocking on the door of, I don't know, name any school in the top 10. How about the coach for Oklahoma State? How about the coach for Baylor? Notre Dame's calling. That's a step up. This kid, 35, he's a kid to me. Defensive coordinator for 2 years. And maybe you get a head coaching job, but at Notre Dame, I'm just like I said, I think they were totally caught off guard by Kelly leaving, and they didn't know what else to do.
A lot of people were saying Luke Fickell, right? The head coach at Cincinnati. Why would Notre Dame not take a role on him, right? He's been the head coach at Cincinnati since 2017. He's brought that team from a middle-of-the-road type of program into a team where last year, again, they had a great season. This year, undefeated. Why not roll the dice on a guy like that is what I was hearing a lot of. But, man, oh, man, I'm shocked they were so proactive to hire Marcus Freeman. I thought there were better candidates out there with more experience. It's one of those things that you'll keep an eye on. I think this is a bad hire for Notre Dame. Guess put me on the record here early. Bad hire for what you could have done.
Right. I'm not saying, like I said, I don't know anything about Marcus Freeman, nothing. But that being said, it's like your coaching search was like a day and a half or 45 minutes, whatever it was. It seemed like it was almost instantaneously they named this guy. Uh, he hasn't been there long enough to have the trust of the players. Nobody knows if he could be a head coach. Has he ever been a head coach before? Maybe at high school, maybe. I mean, who
No.
knows?
Marcus Freeman. Well, you could pull up. What are you moving over there, Grump? You could pull up. I mean, Marcus Freeman's never been a head coach, Grump. He was just. You look at his coaching tree, right? I'm not saying coaching tree is everything. He started off with a grad assistant at Ohio State. Then he went to Kent State as a linebacker coach. Then moved to Purdue. Then was like a co-defensive coordinator at Purdue. Then he became a defensive coordinator at Cincinnati, and then he's been the defensive coordinator at Notre Dame for one season, and now he's the head coach.
Well, as defensive coordinator, he couldn't even keep Cincinnati off the board this year.
Well, okay, it wasn't the defense's fault they lost to Cincinnati. That being said, Tony Chi saying, I went to high school with a kid named Brian Kelly. He was an asshole.
I remember a great Giants linebacker named Brian Kelly. He was really good back in the 70s.
Oh, man. I want you to listen. I want you to listen, grumpy old man, to the clips. There's two of them from Brian Kelly. And Notre Dame fans seem a little spurned by it, and so do just football fans in general. Now, I know people who have played for Brian Kelly. I could tell you that what you're going to hear from him is exactly who Brian Kelly is. He's a no-nonsense, no-heart type of guy who just he seems monotone. That's just, again, what I heard from him is exactly how Brian Kelly was always described to me, even years ago. So I do want you to listen to this. People are criticizing the hell out of him on social media for having a short exit interview, Grumpy. And I'll let you listen to some of this here.
Good morning, guys. Thank you for coming here so early in the morning. I really appreciate it. Obviously, there's a lot going on. The way we're going to do this is Brian's going to speak to you briefly, and then I'll be back up here. I want to share a few thoughts with you, but I want to mainly answer any questions you have about anything. So turn it over to Brian, then I'll be back up.
Thanks, Chad. Morning, guys. Thanks for getting up here in short order, short notice. As you know, I sent out a text last night trying to.
You know what the funniest part about this, real quick, before I get to it much? He called a 7 a.m. meeting. And I guess, again, because maybe classes started at 8, but he calls a 7 a.m. meeting. And I'm like, oh, man, 4 minutes. 4 minutes he was there. I'm sorry. I want to interrupt again.
Actually, the biggest concern is whoever's recording this is all sideways. You can't see it. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Something.
Not a great job, but I'll get
it wasn't on high def. And so far, they've said nothing. The AD comes out, and Brian Kelly just repeats what he said. Hey, thanks for coming here early in the morning. I mean, I'm sure they're up anyway.
Here it is.
Give you as much notice as possible, given the circumstances that we all know that happen relative to social media and information getting out. And look, I know we've been through this together. I've recruited virtually everybody in this room. And I want to be able to tell you face to face, why we're at where we're at. And that is very simply that the past 12 years have been the most incredible 12 years of my life for me and my family, being here at Notre Dame. Magical in what we've been able to build with the most incredible student athletes, the ones that I'm looking at right now.
Not a bad start so far, but I'll let you continue. Right? He's starting to say, hey, Notre Dame, great program, had great 12 years. Okay, let's continue on.
Well,
yes, Grumpy.
He said, I tried to text you last night.
Did you? Are you not aware of how everything transpired? I'll set the picture for you because
to give you as much warning as possible. I don't know. It sounds like they got no warning. I'm just saying.
Okay, I'll set the picture for you because you don't know what happened. It got leaked the night before anybody knew. So it got leaked the night before that evening, and he sent the text message because he hadn't had a chance to address the team yet and let them know he was leaving. So it got leaked the night before. Then he went ahead and had to come out and say he sent a text message that evening to say, hey, we're going to have a meeting in the morning. He took the job. As soon as he took the job and was flying back from Louisiana, it got leaked that he accepted the job and he did not have a chance to address the team. So that is why he's here doing that.
Okay.
There's a blame or there was a reason for something. There was nothing here but first class in everything that Notre Dame has done for me and my family. I saw my time here as a blessing, working with incredible men on a day-to-day basis. But there comes a time where you look in your life for another opportunity. And I felt like it was time in my life for another challenge. And I saw that opportunity in a very short window and felt that it was best for me and my family.
Okay. He felt like there's another opportunity, a better opportunity afoot. Come on, man. I don't know what I'm expecting him to say. I'm not expecting you to flat out say, hey, I just wanted more money. But Jesus Christ, another opportunity? You haven't accomplished. It's not like you're winning national championships, Brian Kelly.
I mean, so it sounds like he reached out to LSU. Well, maybe they reached out to him, but he certainly didn't rebuff them, obviously. But it's like, I mean, how many kids are actually here? If he texted them the night before, said he was leaving, would you get up for a 7:00 in the morning meeting to listen to him spew some line of bullshit? I wouldn't.
I wouldn't come there to listen to the bullshit, but I guarantee everybody was there because, well, here's the thing. I would come to listen to the line of bullshit because I'm expecting, hopefully, to find out what's going on. Okay, has practice changed? Who's are going to be our interim head coach? What is going on here? Has our schedule changed? That's more what I would be concerned about as of what's going on in the future. Tony Cheese saying, please, TJ, set the video up halfway through it. I got a flag, grumpy old man. Alexander saying he's a coward. Brian Kelly. Oh, man, I tell you. I'm not so sure about the
Cowardly Kelly.
Cowardly Kelly. And I'll let you listen to the rest of it here. It's pretty quick.
And so there's no one to blame. There's nobody that's at fault. Nobody did anything wrong. You guys have been the backbone of this program and what you've accomplished, and will continue to do that. I think you're one of the 4 best teams in the country. Jack is going to get somebody that will continue to lead this program in incredible fashion. I don't know what it holds for us moving forward, but I hope the heck it means that you're playing for the national championship because you absolutely deserve it. So from the bottom of my heart, I want to thank every one of you for giving me this opportunity to speak to you directly, because you don't get that chance very often. And to thank you for
did you catch on up on that a little bit? Did you catch that little portion there? I wanted to have a chance to speak to you all individually because we don't get that chance all that often.
Sounds like he does not have an open door policy.
For certain, I can tell you for a fact, Brian Kelly does not have an open door policy. And I can tell you for a fact, he very rarely speaks with any of the players on an individual basis. I can tell you that for a fact. But I find it funny, right? You see those little items slip in, right? Like Brian Kelly's a hell of a coach. There's no doubt about it. But it's funny to hear those kind of like, oh, the little slip up there. Maybe people don't catch that, but I know for a fact the guy does not have an open door policy and does not speak to players all that often. He has an exit interview with them at the end of every year and at the end of the semester. But that's about it. That's about as much speaking to Brian Kelly as you do.
Do you think that when he walks by players in the halls that he knows who they are?
I'm going to say when he walks by players in the halls, he's not saying anything to them. I just assume he's kind of just like trudging around. He honestly, he gives me some Bill Belichick vibes without the success, if you catch my drift.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know, but it's almost, trust me, it's almost over here, Grump. I appreciate your patience.
Allowing me to pursue what I love to do, and that's develop 18 to 21-year-olds. And you will continue to achieve at the highest level and have great success no matter what moves forward for you. So again, thank you. I love each and every one of you. And for me, more than anything else, it's a sad day, but one where I know that each one of you are going to do great things, and you've got more to accomplish. I wish everybody here the very best, and thank you for the opportunity that you've given me and my family. Thank you.
And that's it. That's
it was torturous. It was torturous. That's maybe the worst segment we've ever done on this show. It was torturous listening to that. Torturous.
It was torturous listening. Well, here's the thing. I know it was torturous, but can you freaking think about it? This is a guy who's an extremely successful college football coach, and there's no freaking heart in this guy. That's more what I'm talking about. There is no freaking heart in there's no emotion in that speech at all. Do you not pick up on the same things I do?
I didn't care. Honestly, I could care less about Brian Kelly, what he chooses to do. To me, it was terrible. I thought, there you go. Alexander hit the nail on the head. Speech makes me want to fall asleep. Like I said, it was the worst segment on this show ever. I think you're a little bit too close to that college atmosphere and coaches leaving, honestly. I mean, the only thing I got out of it was that he had a closed door policy. That's it. That's what I got out of it. Everything else was just the same thing over and over again. He said the same thing like 3, 4, 5 times in 4 minutes. I think 4 minutes, you were complaining about the time. I thought it was about 3 minutes and 40 seconds too long. He just said, see you later. I'm out of here. That's all he should have said. Bye-bye.
Oh, good gracious. Good gracious. That's it, huh?
It was terrible. Riley's departure press conference and his arrival at USC press conference was way better.
I don't even know what he said. Speaking about Oklahoma, I'll let you look at that, Grump. You were talking about how you thought the aftermath of Lincoln Riley leaving was going to be something catastrophic. Just want to show you, Grump, you're right. I just wanted to go ahead and give you some kudos. You're right on that. It's a pretty tough loss for Oklahoma fans at the moment. Man, oh man, catastrophic to say the least.
And I am an Oklahoma fan. They're my favorite college team. And you knew that was, here's the thing. People aren't going to California to Oklahoma to have fun in the sun. They're going there to play football for Lincoln Riley. And you knew this was going to be a devastating occurrence to them. Why did they go after Brian Kelly? There was another job that was wide open. Why did he have to rush to LSU? He didn't have to. He could have went to Oklahoma. I mean, I'm just baffled by the whole thing. They also lost their defensive coordinator. They didn't mention that also. He went Lincoln Riley to USC.
Yeah.
But I was expecting this, you're right.
Don't be shocked at all if you might see you might see Bob Stoops step back in for a bit, Grump.
No, he's just no way. I can't see him coming back. He retired for a reason. He was burned out. I like Bob Stoops. I really did. Lincoln Riley was just as good, if not better, than Bob Stoops.
Alexander was saying, all I heard was blah, 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 blah.
Exactly.
That's what I said. I'm so shocked that Brian Kelly is man. I seriously, if I think about it, how the hell does this guy recruit anybody? You know what I mean? You think about Nick Saban. Nick Saban's a hell of a winner. He's got energy. He's got emotion. You think about recruiters and you think about how people are successful. You do not see people that monotone and that emotionless.
Okay. It's Notre freaking Dame. That's how he recruits those players. You still don't get it. It's you had a player who you played with in high school who went to Notre Dame. Right? Was Chip Kelly the guy that recruited him, or was it somebody else? It was somebody else.
No, that's incorrect.
Chip Kelly came down.
You don't know about who I play. You don't know anything about me, Grump, or who I play college football with, because that's something you're not privy to. But I did tell you once before on the podcast, but that's about all you know, is that, yes, I had a guy who played high school football that went to Notre Dame. It was recruited by Chip Kelly, but you don't know anything else about the situation. He was recruited by Chip Kelly. Chip Kelly's been there for 12. Grumpy, how old do I look? Chip Kelly's been there for more than 12 seasons.
Brian Kelly, not Chip Kelly.
Oh, Brian Kelly. You said Chip Kelly, I think, and it got me all confused.
I probably did, because I always think Chip Kelly. I'm sorry. I don't think much of Brian Kelly. I don't think he's that good a coach.
Well, here's my thing. I'm just so shocked by a guy who's had success. He's been to the college football playoffs a few times, to be so emotionless.
What
are all the good college coaches? Look at every single one of them. They all wear their heart on their sleeves. They can lead men, and they forge young individuals. He has none of those qualities and traits. None.
You think Nick Saban is like that? He's not like
Have you,
that.
have you ever seen Nick Saban when he talks to the players after games and he talks? Okay, when he
He's
talks
practically Bill Belichick college.
when
That's
you
who he is.
when you look at him in a press conference for certain, these were behind closed doors. This is not a press conference, Grump. He's talking to the men. I'm telling you, Nick Saban would have much more emotion after leaving Alabama if he took a job, down to Georgia, or he took a job somewhere else. He would have a little bit of emotion, I feel like.
Well, he wasn't like that when he left LSU for Miami or left Miami for Alabama. He was not like that. He is Bill Belichick. You can play about this. Nick Saban is Bill Belichick. They're like this. They even had an HBO special on the two of them. They were glad-handing each other for an hour. Who knows how long in private.
Oh, man. I tell you.
But no, I'm just saying that here's the thing. The head coach is not the prime recruiter. He's the closer, but they have other guys who do the actual recruiting. Not the head. The head coach isn't going on knocking on doors. There are other people. I'm just
the head coach does the home visits. But moving right along, Grump. Antonio Brown is going to be suspended without pay for the next 3 games because he admitted that his vaccination card he submitted was fake. He is vaccinated now, but he is going to be suspended for the next 3 games without pay. And I just think to myself, oh man, it's just another bump. It's another bump along the road for Antonio Brown.
He's not the only one. Mike Edwards and a guy who's on the practice squad, wide receiver, John and Franklin III. They were both suspended for 3 games without pay for violating the COVID protocols. Here's the problem I have. I don't have a problem. First of all, he shouldn't have lied about it. We've been down that road before. Aaron Rodgers. Why wasn't Aaron Rodgers suspended for any games when they knew he wasn't vaccinated? He lied about it, and he was out doing, going to parties without a mask, standing on the sidelines without a mask. All these protocols that he didn't follow, he gets nothing. You want to know why? Because he's Aaron freaking Rodgers. Yet again, the NFL shows that, well, you know what? If you're a big enough name, you can do pretty much whatever you want. And if you're in the doghouse or you're not one of our pals, we're gonna take the hammer down on you. And that's what they did today.
I do agree. I man, I tell you, it is odd. It doesn't shock me at all, right? Because
it's not odd at all to me. When I saw this, and my son said to me, "How come Aaron Rodgers wins?" I said, "Because he's Aaron Rodgers." The NFL knows that what does the NFL care about more than anything? Money. Money is all they care about. Aaron Rodgers gets TV ratings when Green Bay's good and he's playing well. TV ratings. That's money. That's advertising dollars. They could care less about anybody else. They could care less.
I agree. They did not want. And think about it. Green Bay has been just magma hot so far this year. It does not shock me at all that they did anything humanly possible to keep him going and to keep him in the game. Not at all, man.
I'm just stunned that no one's asking the NFL, why wasn't Aaron Rodgers suspended? Because to me, that's the first thing I thought, like, interesting. I mean, he played his little, verbal gymnastics with his policy, with his vaccination status, right? No problem. No, nothing to see here. Just move right on past. And these guys get
technically, he said, "Oh, it was a homeopathic way." It was a load.
In other words, he wasn't vaccinated. In other words,
he wasn't vaccinated, but he was trying to tactfully tiptoe his way around it. And I guess what they're saying, and literally the only way I could ever see the NFL even having a shred, and I'm talking about a minuscule shred to validate this reason to suspend Antonio Brown and not Aaron Rodgers, is that they say, well, Aaron Rodgers or Antonio Brown knowingly submitted a fake vaccination card. That's the only way I could ever see them say, okay, maybe they have even a leg to stand on.
And here's the thing. I think that is the case. That's what they're going to say. And I'll get to this comment in a second. But they knew Aaron Rodgers was not vaccinated. They knew that he was not vaccinated. But see, for me, he's also violating protocols by standing on a sideline without a mask. You're supposed to wear a mask if you're not vaccinated. and you shouldn't have been going to that when they knew he went to that party without a mask on. Now, you can think whatever you want to think about mask rules, but he violated policy. Okay. But he's Aaron Rodgers. And I don't think it's a racist thing. It's unless Aaron Rodgers is green, because that's all they care about. They don't care about anything else, Alexander, is the money. Aaron Rodgers puts fannies in the seats. Antonio Brown does not.
Well, here's the thing, too. It doesn't matter if it's a Russell Wilson, doesn't matter if it's Lamar Jackson. Those guys are fantastic stars, and all the quarterbacks in the league, if you're extremely talented, I feel like would be given the same exact leeway on that side. But they love Aaron Rodgers. There is no doubt about it. Chalk it up to whoever they want. I think it's because he draws huge ratings, and he's a good quarterback, so they want to do anything they can to keep him in the game. Just think about the NFL is crooked as shit. They all know. Just like, all I have to say is if you ever doubted how crooked the NFL is, just take a look at the video they had about Ray Rice. I'm talking about physically beating his fiance at the time period, future wife. And the NFL is like, oh no, this isn't too big of a deal. We're gonna go ahead and suspend him for I don't even think they suspended him.
You know what they did? They lied about knowing about the videotape. They lied about it. They knew right away. But until it got, they just played ignorant. Just like just like Aaron Rodgers did, just like Antonio Brown. Here's the thing with Antonio Brown. And I don't know about Mike Edwards or John Franklin III. I don't know if they did the same thing. But all I know is there's nothing that says you have to be vaccinated in the NFL. There is no rule that says you must be vaccinated. Okay, so I mean, but they got Antonio Brown on the lying thing, saying he was, or the false document, which it was dumb. I mean, same thing with the Vander Kane, right? When you go through the lengths to do that, and to do something like that, dude, if you don't want to get vaccinated, just say you don't want to get vaccinated. I mean, and then just wear a mask on the sideline, just follow the protocols. It was dumb. I don't know about Mike Edwards' situation or John Franklin III.
Who cares about those two guys that ride the pine?
Well, no, Mike Edwards does not ride the pine. He's a starter.
Okay, who the hell is Mike Edwards?
Mike Edwards is a starter for them.
I don't even. What position is Mike Edwards playing?
He's a safety.
Okay. Okay. It's some no-name safety. That being said, want to migrate away a little bit from that. I did think it was odd that Antonio Brown caught a suspension and Aaron Rodgers did not. Just hypocrisy of if you can line their pockets, they want you in action all the time. And I wonder if Antonio Brown's checkered past also is the reason why they determined to come down on him hard, like they always did for guys like Josh Gordon. But when Tyreek Hill has videos in a medical proof of him punching his child to where he broke ribs on his kid, and he said he did that over the phone. Well, there was no suspension ever served from him beating his child. So, I always wonder, okay, if they can kind of squint at it and say, oh, well, maybe there's some deniability on that, they're not going to do anything. But if you have a checkered pass, for certain, they're going to bury you. Want to talk a little bit about the NFL standings, Grumpy old man. We're kind of getting down to the meat and potatoes portion of the season, and I want to know, Grumpy, based off of what you're looking at now, who you think are pretenders and who are real contenders for the Super Bowl. A lot of teams that are elite seem to be losing week in and week out to teams that are beneath them, in my opinion, and the NFL just seems really closely contended this year.
Cowboys will win. Where do you want me to start? AFC East? I can go top to bottom.
Go top to bottom, Grumpy.
Okay, AFC East. New England has won a bunch of games in a row, but they seem to catch teams at bad times, if you know what I mean. A bunch of guys are out injured. They have COVID. All these other things. Yeah, and this is the game that you're going to find out. They play Buffalo on Monday night. Buffalo's been up and down and up and down. When Buffalo plays their game, they're the best team in the East. We'll find out more about them. Like I said, it's a big game Monday. You'll find out if the Patriots are for real on Monday. The AFC North, I'm not impressed with Baltimore, honestly. But then you have the Bengals. Can you really be impressed by the Bengals? They're the Bengals. They'll find some way to lose. They always do. But I think you have to admit, nice job from Joe Burrow, who you regularly rip on this show. leading that team to a 7-4 record. I mean, let's give kudos where kudos are due. AFC South 2 weeks ago, Tennessee was the greatest. They were the greatest.
Hold on. Stop. You just glazed over somebody else who I give a lot of shit on this show to. You glazed over another team, Grump, that happens to be below the Bengals that you just have managed to completely omit, Grumpy. Who is underneath them at 6-6?
I guess I just don't consider Cleveland a legitimate playoff contender. I'm just looking at playoff contenders right now and division titleists.
Okay. I'll let you look at the AFC South too.
Yeah, AFC South. 2 weeks ago, Tennessee was the best team in the AFC. No one was going to stop them. They have the easiest schedule the rest of the way, and they lose to Jacksonville, or was it Houston? It doesn't matter. They lost to one of those crap teams, and then they lost to the Patriots. They lost to the Patriots. They were missing all their wide receivers and their top running back and had injuries on defense. And still, if they didn't manage to poop the bed, they could have beat them. They wound up getting rolled, but that wasn't the case. Indianapolis is a team that's on the rise before losing to Tampa last week. They had won 5 of 6.
Hey, take a breath. Take a breath, man. Take a freaking breath, Grump. God almighty, you're blasting through everything. Yeah, the Titans, you're right. They did go ahead and lose. I think it was to Houston. The Titans are struggling mightily right now with injuries, too. You talk about a few. Okay, Julio Jones is out, and he's been an utter bust. He has not panned out in Tennessee at all. Honestly, I'm kind of shocked by it. A.J. Brown is injured as well. So their top 2 receiving targets are out injured, and their top running back, and Derrick Henry, is out as well injured.
Probably the best running back in the NFL, which your team is built around, is out as well.
So as I'm saying, their top 3 offensive weapons are out injured. I think Tennessee is a shell of what they had expected to have happen, and they're right now, right? You talk about use a boat analogy. They've got holes, and it's just sinking that ship, and they're trying to do anything they can to ship off water.
They still have a breezy schedule the rest of the way. If they can get A.J. Brown back, their other 2 running backs looked good last week. So, I mean, I'm not saying they're Derrick Henry, but they should be able to muddle through. I don't think they're going to win the conference. I just don't. I think we're going to go to the West. I see Kansas City as a team to beat in the West. Looks like everybody was figuring Kansas City, was dead and buried, and they're back. I don't think they're that great. Matter of fact, I don't think there's any great teams in the NFL this year. But then you look at the rest of the West.
Okay. Hold on. Yes. Let's talk a little bit about Kansas City. They did struggle to start. I think they've been playing more of a Kansas City brand of football as of recent. Chalk it up to whatever you want. I think Kansas City has looked better as of recent. Mahomes has been a little exposed this season, and they're facing a little bit of adversity. I think long term, that's good for them this year, right? I do think, just like you mentioned, they are the favorite to win the AFC. I don't think the Patriots are going to win I'd be shocked if the Patriots won the AFC, and I don't think the Bills are winning the AFC. They've been too up and down. They've been too bipolar so far this year. And the Baltimore Ravens, as you mentioned, have holes aplenty. I'm not all that impressed with them. Losing Gus Edwards and J.K. Dobbins earlier on this year has really hurt them. But yes,
Gus Edwards is nothing. It's J.K. Dobbins. He was the feature back, losing him. Gus Edwards was the backup.
Okay. Well, here's the thing. You lost the starter and the backup, so you had to go to the third string. Losing the starter and the backup is a big loss.
Well, their number 1 rusher is Lamar Jackson, though, more than anybody else. Until they lose him, they're still in games.
If you also have pounds of defense down, I mean, like they're relying upon Latavius Murray at this time period. Think about that. Latavius Murray and Devontae Freeman. Man, oh man, you talk about old cashed running backs is what they're relying upon. Hell, they even rolled the dice on Le'Veon Bell this year. I mean, they have no running back options to stand on, Grump.
Yeah, I agree. Their running game is not good. J.K. Dobbins was the feature back there. Gus Edwards, he was the backup. That's all he was. They lost the backup, big deal. Losing Dobbins in preseason was a big loss for them. Big loss. And Rashad Bateman is come back. He's the rookie out of Minnesota, and he's looked okay in spurts. But that's the thing about it. All their weapons are Hollywood Brown and Mark Andrews. That's it.
Yeah, Marquise Brown. But yes, go back to the AFC West, Grumpy, so we can wrap up the AFC.
You look at all 3 of the teams that are 6 and 5. Are any of them true competitors for the division? I don't think so. San Diego seems to have
Los Angeles.
whatever. The Chargers always manage to beat Kansas City, but the other two teams always manage to lose. I think at least one of those, maybe even two of those teams will make the playoffs, but they'll be short runs for certain. If you're
hold on. Stop. Before I let you drone on a little bit, you think two of those teams possibly in the AFC West could make the playoffs? And here's
wild cards.
Give me a sec, Grumpy. Right? It's one team from each division, and then you've got the two wild. Oh, how many wild card teams? Right? Two wild card teams, Grumpy. Three wild card teams. So you think out of that, you think that you could have two, and they're going to beat out teams like possibly the Bills/Patriots, the Bengals, and you're going to have, and even the Browns, right? As much as a shit on the Browns, you don't think the Browns have a chance of making the playoffs?
I do not.
Okay. I think I want to get to it. The Chargers, I think Herbert has been, some games he looks really good. Other times they haven't looked good as a team. I think for the Chargers, man, oh man, the future's bright, but it's still not there yet. And the Broncos are miserable. I just don't see. I know the Broncos are 6-5. I think there's no way in hell with a Teddy Bridgewater led team that they're making the playoffs this season.
Yeah, I mean the Raiders could. I'm not saying guaranteed. I said could. That's what I said. They could contend for a wild card spot. That's what I said.
Alexander's saying Dolphins are going to win out.
I don't know if they'll win out, but you have to be happy with. I mean, earlier Alexander was saying, let's get rid of Brian Flores. And if they win out and they wind up being 10-7, I don't think he's going to ask for Brian Flores' scalp.
Well, so we've got that, Grumpy. We've covered the AFC a little bit. I could see maybe the Raiders out of the West. I think they're the team with the best chance. Derek Carr has been off to a pretty good season. I think the Patriots and Bills, both of those teams are making the playoffs. I think you could pencil that in. I think that the Bengals are sitting pretty. As much as I give shit to Joe Burrow, I'm expecting him to take the next step forward. He benefits a lot from having Joe Mixon, who's a fantastic running back on that team. But let's shift gears, Grumpy, a little bit to the NFC. The NFC East.
Can I say I'm a little offended that you said I was droning on when I'm trying to make it go fast after you just did a 10-minute bit. After you did a 10-minute bit on Brian freaking Kelly just spitting nonsense. The worst segment in the history of this program, and you're complaining about me droning on. Thank you very much.
Is that what it is, Grumpy?
That's what you did.
Do I usually produce the worst segments on this program?
Okay, when you have listeners say that was terrible, that's all you need to know.
Okay, you know what? Here it is, Grumpy. You try things out, and some are going to be good, some won't. That's just how it works. But you rehashing this point, what can I say? We're moving on, Grumpy, to the NFC. I don't want you to quickly rattle through. Right? We want to talk about it. The NFC East. You have to feel like the Cowboys are winning that division, no doubt about it. Right, Grump?
Yeah, Dallas will win that division. The Redskins are hot. Washington Football Club, whatever you want to call them. I still call them the Redskins. Sorry. They're getting hot right now. They've won 2 big games in a row. Could they make the playoffs? Who knows? Because after the first 5 teams, anyone can make it who's 5 and 6. That's a very top-heavy conference, is the NFC. And I think it's a better conference. But no team has really stood out, even though you see, Green Bay and Arizona.
Okay, so we're jumping. Let's finish with the NFC East here first, Grump. We're going to jump division by division by division. So we think the Cowboys, only team that have a chance to make it out of that division. Now you said that the football team, Washington football team, has been catching up a little bit. You don't think there's any chance for the Eagles and no chance for the Giants, right?
Correct. They're both really bad.
Okay, gotcha. And so you're looking at the NFC North. I know you're mentioning, hey, it's top heavy, a lot of really talented teams. The Packers obviously look like a shoo-in for the playoffs, no doubt about it.
If you have a 3-game lead with 5 games to go, it would take a monumental collapse to not make the playoffs. Green Bay will win that division, and they will compete for first seed. They have a couple of tough games left on their schedule. If they win out, I believe they will be the first seed because I don't believe much in Arizona. That said, we'll talk about wild cards next. That's why I kind of just want to talk about top of the division and then wild card.
You're jumping all over the place.
I have a plan. I have a plan, but it's just not what your plan is.
Your plan is to talk about every damn team on there and jump all over the place and go, blah, blah, blah,
No,
That's
it was
the plan,
about
Grump.
who's going to make the playoffs and then who are the wild card teams.
The wild card teams make the playoffs, Grump.
Yeah, but who are the potential wild card teams?
Oh
It's
my
okay.
God.
Every division in the NFC is already locked up. Already locked up.
Then you don't need. Then I don't need you to say, okay, those are the teams that locked up. Let's just go now to, hey guys, ladies and gentlemen, the Buccaneers and the Cardinals are also making. Okay, you
That's
just want to look at the wild card teams, then, Grump?
Yes, that's fine.
Jesus Christ, go ahead.
So you're looking at potential wild card teams: Washington Football Club, Minnesota Vikings, the Rams. I'm not talking about them; they're automatically in the playoffs. Also, you have Atlanta Falcons, New Orleans Saints, and San Francisco 49ers. Those 2 wild card spots are going to come from those 5 teams.
Okay,
San Francisco is all of a sudden starting to play better, right? They're getting healthy. They have a healthy running game. Atlanta and New Orleans suck, but they could squeak in there. They have the same record as Minnesota and Washington. And one of those teams would make the playoffs at 5-6 right now.
Here's the thing. What I think is going to happen is probably this. The Rams are shoo-in. You're right, as you mentioned. The 49ers are making the playoffs. There's no doubt about it. I think there was way too much ground, even though you look at talent. I think the Seahawks are a pretty talented team. There's no way in hell the Seahawks make up this much ground. They're 3-8.
They're 3-8. No team that's 3-8 is going to make until they'd have to win 6 games to go 9-8. It's not happening. They're done, dusted. They're finished.
Okay, I'm providing context. People want to know if the Seahawks have any chance, Grump. That's what's being. I know you don't read any social media.
Hold on. So all you have to do is open a newspaper or look at a little computer screen and look at the NFL standings. I mean, you see a team is 3-8 through 11 games with 6 to go. They're not making the playoffs. Okay, you don't even need to ask. That's why I didn't say, hey, guess what? At 2-9, Houston and Jacksonville could technically make the playoffs. No, they're dusted. Sorry, not happening.
Oh, Jesus Christ, Grumpy. I tell you,
Again,
you're feisty as hell. You are feisty as hell tonight, Grumpy. But yeah, I think if I'm looking at the teams, I think the Washington football team and the Vikings. I think there's no way in hell Seattle makes it. No way the Saints make it. No way the Falcons make it. No way the Eagles make it. I think it's between Minnesota and Washington. None of those other teams have chance. The Saints are hideous. The Falcons are hideous. There's no chance in hell either of those teams squeak in even in a wild card spot. No chance, Grump. None.
Okay.
None.
Okay.
Zero.
Like it's possible. Atlanta and New Orleans are still possible playoff teams. Why? They have the exact same record as Washington and Minnesota. Okay. The Saints, if they could find Taysom Hill is going to be their quarterback starting this week. So there's a possibility they can improve. It's not Trevor Siemian anymore. Okay. I know they're playing Dallas tonight. I have no idea what the score is, but if they pull an upset, they're right in the mix too. I mean, I'm not saying they're not flawed teams, but to me, the NFC is just really, really top heavy. Your first 5 teams are just locked in, and I think they're vastly superior to everyone else. Maybe San Francisco makes a run at it. Everybody else is just cannon fodder, in my opinion.
So you talk about the Vikings. This is a reason why I'll make a case for them. You play the Lions next week, the winless Lions. You still play the Chicago Bears twice more this season, and the Bears have been pretty bad. Yeah, sure, you've got automatic losses, I think, in the Packers and the Rams, but you also play the Steelers. So I think there's a very, very high possibility they can go 4-2 in the remaining 6 games. And if you go 4-2 over that time span, I think you're making the playoffs at a 9-8 record.
Yeah, I'm just not sold on Minnesota. I mean, and those division games, you can just write them off as 2 automatic wins for Minnesota against Chicago. They always play them tough. I mean, Chicago is only 1 game out of a playoff spot right now. So they have something to play for.
Yeah, that for certain they do. But Grump, so we covered a little bit of the NFL. We covered a little bit of the NFL, Grump. Oh, you guys may have noticed we also changed up our insignia. You may have noticed we changed up our logo. Grumpy, I tell you, man, you're feisty as hell tonight, Grump. You are feisty as shit, man. Wanted to show you quickly what what the draft order could look like if the league were to end today. You talk about certain teams have, a lot of draft capital to work with. I've forgotten the Eagles have 3 picks in the first round this season.
Yeah, well, that's what you do, right? Smart move by them. I mean, they're trying to reload. They need a quarterback. I'm sorry. Jalen Hurts might be great for fantasy numbers, but for winning football games, sorry.
Well, here's the thing. Jets fans, I know you always go in optimistic with the season. Jets fans, you have a real reason, I think, to be optimistic the next year because you've got 2 picks that could be top 5 picks. Seattle has been miserable. Even if they start to improve, you're still looking at a top 10 pick. You got 2 top 10 picks. The Giants are sitting there with 2 top 10 picks as well. The Eagles, again, 3 picks that are going to be, non-playoff teams, possibly Miami and Indianapolis as well. You're looking at that division. I mean, the Giants and Eagles are going to be loading up, and the Jets, I'm telling you, I think they could really add some core pieces this season.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, there's still a long way to go before we're putting up, I think it's pretty safe to assume Detroit is going to have the first pick, and you're going to see a lot of those teams down at the bottom, but there's so much maneuvering, particularly, with the picks from other teams that are competing for a playoff spot. So I just think it's a long way to go yet.
I know. I just wanted to pop it up. I thought it was interesting. A lot of those teams that had multiple first round picks, the draft picks look like they're going to have opportunities to have higher picks. I just wanted to show it, Grumpy, right? That New York fans, Jets and Giants fans, you're going to have probably 2 early picks. It's not like you have to worry about Seattle sneaking their way into the playoffs, as you said. And again, Chicago, I don't see them sneaking their way into the playoffs either.
I'm still stunned that you said that people want to see if Seattle has a chance to make the playoffs. They're the 5th worst team in the NFL. They're not making the playoffs.
It's like when people ask, "Hey, do the Islanders have a heavy? The Islanders favorites to make the playoffs?" There's still people who believe the Islanders are shoo-ins to make the playoffs and don't recognize that there's a possibility they might not make the playoffs. So it's worth mentioning. Tony Cheese saying, "Gotta get up." Got to get some sleep, boys. Catch the rest in the AM. He said, I'm throwing some flags at the Islanders tonight for getting my hopes up, throwing some yellow flags.
I watched the first 2 periods, and Matt Barzal came out and scored a beautiful goal. Scott Mayfield got the Bailey assist for throwing the puck behind the net to Andy Green, who makes a pass up to Barzal, who picks up in the defensive zone, goes all by himself, coast to coast with 2-3 guys look at him, and shoots across the goalie's body, top shelf. Fantastic play. Fantastic. I don't know if they won or not. I don't know. It was 1-1 after 2. I don't know if they won or not.
I've got bad news for you, Grumpy.
They lost. Okay.
They lost in overtime.
At least they get a point. At least they get a point.
Gotcha. Alexander's saying, wow, Islanders just lost 30 seconds into overtime. Yeah, I tell you. And then What a Film's saying, I'll tell you who's not between TJ, the Islanders. Grumpy, don't pick on the Cowboys. The Islanders still suck. And he's also saying,
pick on the Cowboys. I think they're automatically gonna. I think there's no way they do not win the East. No way.
I think they beat the Saints tonight. I know it's still early, about midway through the game at halftime. They're going to beat the Saints. Saints are miserable. Saints don't have a quarterback. Saints didn't have a quarterback last year. And without Alvin Kamara, the Saints' weaknesses have just been festering to the top of their skin. What a Film's also saying, Grump, you know what you need? I want one too. A Slapshot jersey. Slapshot.
Yeah, the Charlestown Chiefs.
What a Film's saying, it's okay, TJ. I didn't expect you to know what Slapshot is. I've seen Slapshot. Come on.
Do you know who the star of Slapshot was?
Couldn't tell you.
Damn, TJ.
I don't watch movies. I've seen a movie. I don't know movie characters and actors.
Paul Newman. Have you ever heard of him?
Yeah, he's been in other movies. I'm sure. Cool Hand Luke.
Right? Oh, really? Oh, you thought that was the only movie he ever did? Was that one? He's been in other movies. That's your answer? He's been in other movies? Go ahead, look up Paul Newman now, because I know you don't know.
He's in Cool Hand Luke, right?
Yeah, he was in Cool Hand Luke, The Sting.
Okay, there you go. I didn't need to look that up, Grump.
Yeah, you looked it up. I saw you. You're good at it.
What I was doing is pulling up an image of him, Grump.
Do you remember what the name of the 3 brothers was?
The Hanson brothers. Get that. You know what, Grumpy? Get that shit out of here. I'm done with that, Grump. I'm done with you. I'm done with your sass today. I'm done with your. What's up with your camera angle, by the way? I should have picked on you about that earlier. Go ahead, Tony Cheese. You can throw a yellow flag. What is this, Grumpy? I see back in the back of the hallway over there.
It's
So nice.
the house is in a state of disarray.
Uh-huh.
I pulled all the floors up. It's been a nightmare. It's just everything is all over the place. This is the best I could do today.
Ah, there
Like I
it
said,
is.
I'm just like I'm living in a construction zone right now.
Want to talk about the MLB? We covered a few things in the NFL. We talked about college football playoffs. The MLB, Grumpy. lockout, Grumpy. What if we're not shocked by it, but I want to ask you this: number one, who do you think wins from this? Right? You could argue that everybody's a loser in this. If you had to put one who comes out victorious, is it going to be the players or is it going to be the owners? And number two, when do we see an MLB season this year, if at all?
Players will win. The owners need the players to make money. The owners want some type of cost certainty. The players are dead set against it. Their union is just too strong, but we knew they were going to lock players out. That's why you saw all that activity before December 1st or whatever the date was. And we knew that was coming. I mean, we look at some of the other contracts that were signed, a big flurry of activity right before the end. Corey Seager, Max Scherzer, we talk about him potentially going to the Mets. That's where he wanted going. The highest paid pitcher in the game now at $43.5 million a year for 3 years at the age of 37. Man, oh man, kids, parents, if your kids could throw a baseball, you got a shot.
Yeah, trust me, we'll talk about it. I've got it on the list. But hey, so you think the players are going to come out victorious? You don't think that they're going to be able to, the owners are going to be able to stand their ground on this one?
They always cave. Maybe they'll be stronger this time. I just doubt it. They said that they did have a meeting towards a new labor agreement, and it lasted 7 minutes.
Yes, okay. I did hear about that. As soon as I heard that, I was like, hey, yikes. They're so far apart.
Baseball can't seem to stop shooting themselves in the foot.
That's always funny. People absolutely hate Rob Manfred. Absolutely hate him. Fans hate him, and with the changes he tries to propagate amongst the league, and now the lockout, he might be one of the most disliked MLB commissioners of all time.
Bowie Kuhn was the worst. He was the worst. He was before your time.
Tell me about him, Grump.
I don't have time to go into it. He was invalidating trades in the 70s. The Oakland A's were breaking up their team because Charles O. Finley, who was the owner, who really could evaluate talent, but he didn't want to pay anyone anything. So he started trading players for cash. Vita Blue, Joe Rudy, Reggie Jackson, and Raleigh Fingers. And the league said, nope, you can't do that. You got to go back to your team. So they wound up losing everybody due to free agency. And that was the end of the franchise. I mean, not what I mean is as being a championship contender.
I'll tell you, what if I'm saying TJ's the only person on the planet who doesn't like movies. Paul Newman may as well be an alien to him.
It's stunning. Honestly, it's stunning to me. I'm stunned.
Grumpy.
Stunned. That is not too strong of a word. Stunned.
Oh man. So we think them. Okay, gotcha. Well, I do want to also talk about the signing of Max Scherzer. Right, huge contract given out to a 37-year-old pitcher. Oh man, Mets.
And he's a big union guy, right? So you knew that he was not going to take. And Scott Boras was his agent. He's like, he gets the most money for his clients. I'll just tell you that.
He's a fantastic sports agent for the MLB, no doubt about it. Let me ask you this, right? They're popping up stats. Of course, they say since 2018 because Max Scherzer stats, I think, have kind of tailed off a little bit here as of recent. But they go through all the strikeouts. Was that?
He was good this year. I mean, I thought he was. I don't think his number. If you're comparing him to DeGrom, I mean, DeGrom's been the best pitcher in Major League Baseball for the last 3 years.
I'm comparing him to seasons. Okay, I guess he had okay, maybe it was 2 years ago. He had a little bit off year. Okay, the years of him winning Cy Youngs are in the past. He's not winning another Cy Young. I know he finished third in the race this season, but again, like you look at it, 2 years ago wasn't even in the Cy Young finalist there. Again, I know he did get injured and banged up, but I don't, at 37 years old, I don't expect him to be a guy who's contending for a Cy Young anymore at this point in time in his career.
I love their starting staff. I love their starting staff right now. Those two guys are they're two ace studs. They go 7 innings, 8 innings every single game. And Scherzer.
You want to talk about a 1-2 punch too. I think this should give Mets fans something to be very excited about. Again, assuming they have a season this year.
Yeah. See, that's the issue. That's the issue.
Tell me that would not be the most Mets thing ever, is if they lock out and they don't play this year, and now Max Scherzer, you miss him out when he's 37, now you get him when he's 38, and Jacob deGrom is another year older. Jacob deGrom is no spring chicken either.
34. He'll be 34.
Yep, with injury issues as of recent too.
Well, that's the whole thing, right? Scherzer's won 3 Cy Young awards in his career. I mean, I don't know why you're poo-pooing Max Scherzer. He's pretty damn good.
Max Scherzer is a hell of a player. I'm just saying, don't expect Max Scherzer still to be a guy who's finishing top 5 every single year in Cy Young. Eventually, guys have to slow down.
Yeah. And I think he has slowed down a little bit. The last couple of years, he's had little injury issues that have had him sidelined for a while, but he keeps himself in good shape. I'm not worried about him. I'm just not. If there's a guy who can pitch another till he's 40, it's maybe that guy. But if you're a Mets fan, you have to be happy what they've done this offseason. At least they're trying, right?
At the Mets, again, the ownership will put money into this team. They will always go ahead and try to do anything they can to have this team be a success. And Jacob deGrom, if healthy, is fantastic. Think about it. He still finished top 10 in Cy Young voting, even though he missed, half the season? So, I mean, he had a fantastic year before he got injured, and Max Scherzer really helped solidify that rotation. Man, oh man, it's the worst case scenario for Mets fans is if they lock out this season. That'd be a shame. It'd be a crying shame.
I mean, because you're talking about Eduardo Escobar is there, who I think is an underrated player, honestly.
Starling Marte joined as well.
That's right, Starling Marte. Can they play in New York? I'm not concerned about Scherzer pitching in New York. That much I can tell you. And
yes, there's no worry about that.
Yes.
What a film saying here, or music. What the hell happened to TJ? Couldn't tell you.
He's a loser.
Yeah. What a film saying, and another muscle shirt.
I'm not going to say that. Why can't you? Can you not put a full shirt on? Is it not possible?
Hey, Grumpy, what can I say? Maybe I just want to wear it to piss you off.
Well, you're pissing off the people listening to the show. I think that's a dumb thing to do.
Oh, stop. Maybe I'll wear another muscle shirt Saturday afternoon when we're covering Oklahoma State against Baylor at 12 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. We're going live during that game. Warzone Senior Citizen said the Islanders are so bad. Trade Lee, Bailey, Chara, and other duds. Summer rebuild.
Okay. Now, like I said, I watched the first 2 periods of that game today, and it was Matt Barzal and Ilya Sorokin. And I thought Dobson was playing well so far. And I thought the second line actually played pretty well. No scoring, of course. And they had Palmieri with Pajot and Parise. And Bailey, that slug, it was back on the first line again, inexplicably. So you can see why they didn't perform. But we just don't look real good. I thought Dobson looked okay also. Pellick was back. There's no excuses now. I'm sorry, there's none.
We're going to hear excuses. Here's the thing. We're going to hear every excuse under the sun. I told you I feel like we were going to lose against San Jose. Remember I told you I said we're going to lose against San Jose. There's no way we're beating them.
I thought they would win today.
And we'll talk about that. Again, we will not have the Islanders Never Say Die podcast on Saturday. So for those of you guys who like the fix, we will not have an Islanders Never Say Die podcast on Saturday. We're not going anywhere. It's not like if the Islanders lose another game, we're going to hide away if they go on a 10-game losing streak. No. We're not going away, ladies and gents.
When is the next Islander game being played?
Saturday.
After Saturday.
Well, you play another one. What is it on? I don't have the Islanders schedule.
Okay. Well, we will be doing a live stream if it's, just not Sunday.
Sunday. So we're not doing it on Sunday. So it'll be Tuesday. So against the Ottawa Senators, we'll do live stream during that game.
Okay. That's a game we should win.
You would think there. But yes, getting back through some Grumpy, getting back through some comments here. And then what a film said, Warzone. We're not talking hockey tonight. Please don't get Grumpy started. Well, it already did. And then
I
Alexander
wanted to see the end of the game.
Grumpy, you're. I tell you, we're gonna have to get you some headphones or something like that. Maybe it's just on my side. Just
It's on your side.
No, I hear the echo. I hear the echo, and you're delayed because you have bad internet and you don't have headphones. But Alexander's saying, "I love the signing by us. Now we need to go get Correa." I was hoping we would re-sign Stroman, Marcus Stroman.
Yeah, I don't think they had any intention of re-signing him. I think he wanted to come back, but they just nope. And honestly, Scherzer's a better pitcher than Stroman.
Well, thanks, Alexander. Looking like a younger Hulk Hogan. You painted too well. I don't look that good. What a film saying Scherzer has mental issues like a lot of pitchers. The toughest job in sports.
I think he's mentally really strong. And when he's saying that you look like Hulk Hogan, he's probably talking about your hairline.
Oh, shit. Yeah, screw you, Grump. What a film saying, I think Page demands him not to wear a muscle shirt. This is his only chance he gets.
That is entirely possible.
It could be possible. It could be possible. Alexander saying Pavilion completely lazy on the overtime goal. Yeah, we play Saturday against Detroit and Sunday against Chicago. What a film saying, go ahead, Warzone. I'm pissed off. LOL. Yeah, we'll get, I tell you, we'll get to it. Oh man. It's something odd. But the Mets starters, you have to feel like if they have a season this year, they're going in. You got to feel confident as a Mets fan, about as confident as you can feel.
They need another starter. They need another starting. One more guy, and I think they're ready to go. I think Carrasco is a free agent. I know they rolled the dice with him, but
I'm not sure if you're seeing this right here, Grump, but the MLB players are all in on the Twitter lockout jokes. They're all doing these faces, but not including their face. They're not actually including their likeness because they're locked out. Okay. I didn't know if you'd find that funny or it'd put a smile on your face.
I consider it silly.
Silly.
Oh,
Alexander also saying, go get Castillo from Cincinnati.
I don't know if he has the mental makeup to pitch in New York. He's extremely talented, but he was really underwhelming this year. And Cincinnati's not New York. If things go bad, they're brutal in New York. Let's be honest, right? Cincinnati, not so much. Mm-hmm. Sonny Gray was miserable. He was great in Oakland, miserable with the Yankees, and then really good again in Cincinnati.
Well, I want to show you, and I think it's a good point about Sonny Gray. I've always believed that you look at Carl Pavano, the list goes on and on with guys who just aren't unable to play in New York. But fans are so freaking pissed at Rob Manfred. I'll let you listen to you might know this clip here, Grumpy.
Shut up, bitch!
And they got a little thing on the Rock going, a letter from baseball fans to Rob Manfred. Oh,
shut up, bitch!
Oh, yeah, man. But we knew it was coming, right?
Oh,
we knew it was coming. You knew it was coming. I'm not surprised. And if anyone was paying attention, we talked about it 2 weeks ago. We knew it was coming.
Yes, we did.
I just don't understand. I don't understand the players. I understand the players want to make as much money as possible. You look at somebody like Aaron Judge, right? His contract is up where he can be a free agent next year, I believe. But he's going to be, 28 years old before he gets to cash in? I mean, they've been nickel and diming him for years.
The same thing they do with Pete Alonso, the same thing they do with all these young players. They're always going to nickel and dime them until they get to like their late 20s, oddly enough. And that's the first time really they earn a big paycheck.
Not all of them. You look at Tatis signed a huge deal. I mean, but that's why, I'd rather pay a guy early and get their prime years and then let them go, as opposed to, signing a unrestricted free agent at 28 years old to a 10-year deal.
You can nickel and dime a guy till they're 28 years old and keep yourself where you're underneath a luxury tax. But you're right. Fernando Tatis, and the same thing with your Mike Trouts, your guys that are, top tier, upper echelon. Those are the guys who get paid the most. No doubt about it. Warzone Senior Citizen saying every night is a hockey night. Good point there. Warzone says and then Alexander saying DeGrom, Max Scherzer, Walker.
I'm just underwhelmed. Walker was okay in spots.
Taijuan Walker's a good pick. I've always liked Taijuan Walker, though, even back when he was with Seattle.
He was with Arizona.
He was with Seattle, too, as a minor leaguer.
But like I said, I'm sorry, you need to have a better third option. You just have to. Think about where that pitching staff was 5 years ago, right? When they went to the World Series. Think about it. The sky was the limit. One guy left.
Yep, absolutely. And what a film saying, my sporting hopes, 1, the Islanders make the playoffs. 2, the Cowboys play Tampa Bay in the conference final. Well, I could say the second has a much higher possibility than the first at the moment.
Yeah, I said I'm going to watch the third period, so I'm going to reserve judgment. But I thought the Islanders played well, honestly, just lacking talent to put the puck in the net. It just kind of is what it is at this point. And I'm hoping Tampa Bay makes the conference finals against the Cowboys. That means it'll be a home game for Tampa Bay, and they'll be going to their second straight Super Bowl. So I'll go for that.
Gotcha. Want to ask you what your thought is on Nashville's Stadium Series jersey. It's Smashville is always what they get the nickname of. Now, what do you think of this jersey here for the Stadium Series, Grump?
Stupid. I think it's stupid. I think the Predators logo is kind of dumb too, but Smashville, I mean, what are you trying to appeal to? 5-year-old boys? I don't know.
Oh man, oh man.
I mean,
I didn't think it was a great logo, great design to it. I like that. I wish they would have had like something else besides just the letters of Smashville and a little guitar pick. I don't know. I was hoping for a little something special because I think it has a really cool design. It has a really cool appeal to it. I think it's different than what their usual layout is on a jersey. That's all you're hoping for, right? They could potentially sell, but it's just the pick doesn't look all that cool in the middle, in my opinion.
Now, I'm going to plead ignorance here, but you see that little thing in the middle with the 3 stars? Isn't that very similar to Tennessee Titans? Maybe it's a Nashville thing. To the Titans. I don't know. It just reminds me of the Titans logo. And it's probably, I think theirs is like a sword, but it just kind of reminds me of it somehow. I don't know what it means, the 3 stars. I don't know what it means.
I want to show you here this. Now I got a few clips. Now this one is funny. We've first got 2 hockey clips, Grump. Two of them, Grumpy. I got one from Paul Bissonnette. And I want you to listen to this. I think it's a funny little story. It's a funny little 1 minute long. Hopefully this won't be as bad as the segment earlier. Hopefully this won't be the worst segment in the TJ and the Grumpy Old Man podcast history. But I'll let you listen to it, Grump.
And then you got the Bizmaster. People are probably wondering why I have this. I played 15 games for the Pittsburgh Penguins. I think I had more healthy scratches in the organization than actual games played. But
what number you have on here?
So this is 67. This was my training camp number. I end up making the team out of training camp, and we go play the world premiere games in Ottawa. So I get put in the lineup, and then after the 2 games over there, we come back, and Dana Hines calls me in the trainer's room. And he says, "Hey, we're going to change your number." And I'm like, "No, I kind of like 67. It brought me good luck. I ended up making the team." And I don't know if it's true or he was just pulling my leg. He goes, "Yeah, Sid's family was watching the game and it looked too much like 87. And you were getting in scrums all the time. So they had enough of that. So we're going to change you into 16. So I just shut up, took my new number, and went back out there. And I didn't last long. I was back in the minors in no time. So, and I'm still convinced it's because they switched my numbers.
Yeah.
This one brought me too much luck.
Yeah.
How about Sid's parents?
Crosby's parents.
Sid's parents had a heart attack.
Listen,
what happened to my son?
Yeah.
Where
Where did his skills go?
confusing me with the hands out there. That's
I'm not sure about that story though. Like that.
Oh man, the Grumpy. I heard that he had to be just pulling his leg, right? There's no way that could be true.
I think anything is possible. Hey, when you have that type of pull in an organization, anything can happen. You can see why Paul Bissonnette is very popular.
I tell you, he's funny. He's very, very personable, and he's one of those guys that is. What did he say? Right when you're able when you're able to rag on yourself and misfortunes, and you can turn it into a humorous event, it just makes you likable as a guy. It's why the Mannings are so likable, because they don't mind punching at each other and punching at themselves, which makes them so likable, I think, as people.
Self-deprecating humor. That's why the Grumpy Old Man is so popular.
Is that why the Grumpy Old Man is so popular?
I believe
not because he's right on everything. It's because of self-deprecating humor.
Yeah, it's easy to be right on everything, but if you're not afraid to pick on yourself as well as your miserable co-host, anything can happen.
Oh man. So I've got a clip from the hockey back in the 1970s. So yeah, Grumpy's about to be excited. I'm shocked by it, and we'll watch the whole clip in its entirety, And then we have not a fans fight segment, but we do have a fight segment, Grumpy Old Man. It might as well be a fan fight, to be honest. It's not in a professional game. I'll let you watch it too. I think these two last clips, hopefully we're ending on a fantastic note, Grumpy Old Man. Now, this is what the NHL used to be like during the 70s. Now, man, oh man, I'll let you watch it, Grump. I think he may have gotten a concussion here. Robitaille.
Bob Kelly goes down. And he's a lot of Hulk out there in front of a goaltender. Here's Robitaille breaking back. And Ochar blindsided him, and Robitaille is down. Ochar absolutely ripped into Robitaille as he was looking down for the puck.
There's the play right there, Sam. You'll notice he loses it in his skates, and while he's looking down, there's Dennis. He puts the left shoulder into him, and trainer Pat Dunn is out looking over Robitaille right now, who has been injury-riddled during his brief career in Vancouver since joining the Canucks from Buffalo. He seems to be all right. You can see his head bobbing there.
He seems to be all right. Maybe he's
Do
having
you think that's a legal hit in the NHL today anymore, Grumpy?
First of all, he was skating across the center of the ice with his head down, fumbling the puck. He said he's had injury history, injury marred since he came to Vancouver. I can see why. If you skate with your head down, fumbling for the puck, skating across the center of the ice, you're just begging people to hit you. It looked like a clean hit to me.
Back in the day, sure, maybe that was a clean hit. No longer is that a clean hit today. They've kind of taken checking out of it. I want you to watch, because how they try to get him off the ice is the part that just blows my mind. And I'll fill you in on this too, because I, not having been from the 70s, Grumpy, I didn't know if these items were around in the 70s. I thought that was like, I'll let you watch it, Grump. I'm not going to say anything else. I'll let you watch.
Wait, one thing I just want to say.
What is it, Grump?
He looks like he's fine because you see his head bobbing. He could be having a seizure. I don't know how he looks like he's dead to me. So
yes, and you'll see more of it, but let's get back to Grump.
There they are. They're getting him up now.
He's concussed, beyond concussed, and just look at how different things are now when people get concussed, how different they were then. He is quite obviously concussed, and watch how they try to get him off the ice.
And he is having great difficulty getting up. You see Schnapp's getting his head under one arm, and at the other side is the Larry Carrier, and they're going to have to help him off. He is absolutely still woozy.
I should not be laughing.
Knees, Sam, they're wobbling. He looks like he's gone 15 rounds with Muhammad Ali.
That is, I just hope it's nothing serious, because he was blindsided.
When I'm seeing this, I think to myself, do they not have stretchers? Does 1977, do they not have stretchers in arenas? Has a stretcher not been invented yet? Because it's quite obvious that Robitaille cannot skate off the ice under his own power. I mean, when people would snap legs in the wrong direction, did they not have stretchers back then? No, but don't worry. They mentioned them. They did have stretchers back then. Well,
I should not be laughing at this, but it was great back then watching open ice hits. You don't see any hitting anymore. I love the hitting. And I just like how the guy said he seems fine when he's laying flat on his face. I mean,
it shows you how far we've come with understanding what concussions are and items like that too. Because it's quite obvious when you see something like this. Okay, just got a little bump. His legs are a little woozy. He'll be fine. That's the mentality they used to have back in the 70s. They didn't know anything about traumatic brain injuries, nothing at all.
And the thing that they don't tell you is he came back the next period.
No, he did not.
And as you described, Greg, so perfectly,
his legs are not even moving.
He's dragging a leg behind him, too. He's getting a nice round of applause. Otlipson pulling in front, and they are just moving him ever so gently over to the runway leading to the Vancouver dressing room, and they'll get him off the ice. But Robitaille took a lick that he will not soon forget.
One of those high hits, too. It was a clean hit. I can't believe that they didn't.
Listen to how they said it, just to show you how different and how much player safety has been input on the game. You have the announcer saying it's a clean hit. During the 70s, that was a clean hit. Yeah. And what shocked me again was how tough it was for him to move, and they didn't get a stretcher. But this is the part right here at the end. I want you to the last 20 seconds. And I just think to myself, the safety and the precautions they took for athletes are it looks almost like it would be ticking the clock back 100 years ago. That's how far we come, I think, in player safety.
didn't call for a stretcher. I don't understand it. If a guy is that wobbly on his feet, you'd think they'd give him the courtesy of at least giving him a lift into that medical room area.
Well, there is the stretcher. Robitaille now being.
Look at how they put him on the stretcher. Seriously, look at how poorly this was handled. And again, like obviously I'm not trying to pick, they had no idea about this type of stuff, but it was so tough they had to carry him off the ice. And it was so bad when they put him on a stretcher. You have somebody else carrying him by his skates. They didn't even lift him and put him on the full stretcher. They've got a guy who's just like probably part of, the medical staff. He's an athletic trainer. He's like, okay, we're just walking Robitaille. He got his bell rung. All right, I'm going to go ahead and carry his legs. We'll put him half on a stretcher. We'll go ahead and roll him over here. And you could just tell, hand over the head, he's just got a hell of a ringing headache. Man, oh, man. Oh.
Okay, I like how he said, if he's that wobbly. Dude, he wasn't wobbly. He was unconscious.
Yes, he was unconscious is right. It just, again, the fact that used to be a clean hit, and this is how they used to take care of athletes when they used to have a head injury and injuries in general.
I still don't think that was a dirty hit.
Not for the time, it wasn't. Now it is. Not for the time.
The result is horrible, of course, but that was not a dirty hit. The guy was skating with his head down. I mean, you can't skate across the center of the ice with your head down, fumble with the puck.
Not during that time period, for certain.
Not during any time period.
Wheeled, I would suspect, to an ambulance and to a hospital, unless there's one right here in the Coliseum that you know of, Greg.
It's a club.
They're holding his legs up, too.
What?
I think they were holding his legs up. The guy was holding his sticks up. It's not like his legs. He was holding his own legs up.
Did you not hear what I said, Grump? I said they were holding his skate. They were holding his legs up.
I didn't hear that.
Were you not listening to anything I was talking about? Were you not listening to me when I speak?
I try not to.
Oh, man, Grump, you're ridiculous, man. What a film said, enough hockey, let's talk football. Don't you just want to punch Aaron Rodgers in the face when you see a clip of him?
He's a jerk. He's a jerk. And what I think you missed at the beginning of the show, we talked about kind of a double standard when it comes to COVID protocols and our boy Aaron Rodgers and everybody else.
Absolutely, we did. What a film's also saying, yeah, they played well, the Islanders. The puck was still staying out of the net. Not entirely frustrated. Barzal should have started the 3-on-3 in overtime, but he did not.
He didn't want to risk them scoring a goal.
What a film's also saying, I'll be out walking Charlie, but you guys are on. Wallstrom played with a shitty line. Okay, I'm done. I asked Wooda not to talk hockey. I asked Warzone not to talk hockey. I tell you, it's one of those days where it's frustrating. Alexander said, Grump is also very popular with the ladies.
Why, thank you, Alexander.
Alexander saying you need to show Grumpy the Islanders video, not the whole thing, but maybe you can point out some. Maybe he can point out some players. I'll send it to you. Maybe I'll have to do that next time because we got one more segment here and we'll wrap things up today. What a film saying. I know a lot about brain injuries, TJ. You've had them. I thankfully did not. I don't think playing football. They measure them on a scale from minor, moderate to serious, and that's a pretty serious for certain. That's about as bad as they come because he was knocked unconscious. I think about it. No stretcher on the ice, and they're carrying him when they do put him on a stretcher. They have somebody behind him, like again, as I mentioned, like an athletic trainer, carrying him by the skates because he's not even all the way secured on the stretcher. I just think how far the medical field has come in the last 50 years. It's unbelievable, and it's been fantastic.
You know what they probably said? Just rub a little dirt on it. So he was like this.
Yeah, well, think about it. That used to be, just go roll out there. Yeah, and I'm saying those traumatic brain injuries, concussions, even when you can shake them off, the brain has no cushion at all. I was about to say, it just magnifies if you go back.
That's why you're more prone to get a concussion after you've had a few. I mean, that ended the career of Brett Lindros with the Islanders and Eric Lindros as well.
Yeah.
Every time you get one, it just gets worse and worse and worse. Sidney Crosby, right? Same thing, right? Remember, he was having those concussion issues for a long time.
Well, he had the neck one, and I think it was what it was. It wasn't concussions, but it was the neck. When the film said, I had a bad concussion playing high school football, just some smelling salts. The days were a mandatory trip. These days, it'd be a mandatory trip to the hospital. Thank goodness. Yeah, I was about to say, that's literally what they do. Say, even in the clip, they said, they're trying to get him some smelling salts out there. I think that's verbatim what they said. You just think to yourself how things have changed. Number one, the hit was deemed as clean back then. You would be serving a 5 or 10 game suspension. By the way, how crazy is it that Brett Lemieux only gets a 5-game suspension for biting Kachuk? Nuts.
I thought it was going to be 10. I was wrong.
Alexander said, all I got to say is, wow. He said, it's like walk it off. You'll be okay. Yeah. Ugh.
True. That's the way it was back then.
Mm-mm-mm.
Concussions weren't even a thing. He got his bell rung, right? Nobody even said, "Oh, he just got his bell rung." That's what it was.
I don't even know if that's what they said back in the day. What if film said, "You had him, TJ. You don't like movies or music." Now it's all making sense. Oh man, oh, man. Alexander is saying it's like pick up a dead body and just toss him on the side. Yeah, and wow, Memphis just blew out OKC by 73 points.
Wow. Wow.
I'm not kidding. Wow.
That is hard to beat a team by 73 points. Now, if I was out there, I could see my team getting beat by 73 points. We've been a man short, but, they're a professional team.
I want to show you. Remember how we always talk about fan fights? Now, this looks more like I think this is a high school. It's a high school game. This is, might as well call this the fan fight segment of today, Grumpy.
That's a pretty nice stadium for a high school.
Yeah, I think it's one of some of those high school stadiums.
Coliseum.
Yeah. Well, think about it like this. Some of those high schools, I've been to high schools, like when we would go on the road, we'd stop off at a local high school and like do some walkthroughs on Fridays. A lot of high schools have really, really nice indoor basketball arenas and even college or even high school football stadiums. So this is just one of those, I think, really, really well-funded athletic programs. I think this is high school, but I'll let you watch. Here it is, Grumpy.
Little, hey, nice job. What the heck? What the heck, man?
I'll let you watch it again. Now, we know who it is who punches the guy, but I want you to watch him coming up and tell me if you could just see he is seething. He is thinking about this the entire time. I have to assume the team in white and orange was a team who had lost, and this bigger fella up here at the front maybe was manhandling another player on the other team. But I'll let you watch. It's this guy right here, Grumpy Old Man. He's got his fist clenched, ready to punch from, I'm talking about 10, 15 yards away. Just look at him.
The kid's got an agenda.
Boom. He's got his fist clutched there, as you could see him coming right over here.
And those like the home team, the little Panthers or whatever the heck they're called there.
Cougars or whatever they are. Nice game. Boom. Hold on. You could see the guy even is like this. Look at this. He sees it coming from a little bit away. He's just like giving. Oh, he's like, please don't punch me. He says, good game. Boom. He punches him once in the stomach. And then, and he smacks him right in the face too. And I'm talking about, you talk about connecting. Holy hell. That kid, powerful stance and connected right on the jaw. Ooh.
He looks like Jersey Joe Walcott getting hit by Rocky Marciano right there. Here's the thing. That kid never played again. I'm going to tell you right now.
That kid should be thrown out of school. He should be thrown out of school, thrown off the team. And again, if he's not a minor, he should be tried for that. You can't do stuff like that.
Okay. Here's the thing. He was kicked off the team, I guarantee. He shouldn't be thrown out of school for that.
What?
That was cheap. No. I mean, no. And you said the guy knew was coming. He was shaking hands. You just see something coming. You're just
no. I was going to say at the last second he sees it coming, right? You see him kind of clinch up a little bit because he sees it coming. Look, he puts his hands up after he sees him winding up. He's like, "Holy hell, I'm going to get hammered."
Yeah, his abdominals aren't real tough because he buckles them over. That's the only way the kid can hit him up in the face because he's really reaching there.
I was about to say he had to reach up, but man, oh man, I do like his teammate who came to the defense of this guy. After he was knocked out, right? Because right here, he is knocked the hell out. He is falling to the ground, not a chance in hell to stand up. He's got a concussion too. And this guy is still going after the punch at him. I'm happy his teammate comes in here and just wrestles that guy to the ground. Oh. You talk about a fan fight segment?
I have no problem if that kid number 4 just took the beating of his life because it's a Pearl Harbor job right there.
You can't be doing stuff like that. Oh.
No. I don't know where this is, but it's not good.
It's meanwhile in high school basketball. It
didn't look like high school. Maybe it was. I don't know.
It was from the track count. I don't know what the hell this was. It was from the track count. I think in Iowa. I think this was it was a high school in Iowa.
Back to the farm for you, kid.
Yeah, I was about to say, man, oh man, you cannot be doing stuff like that. It wasn't as good as usual. The fan fight segments are, but shocked by it. What a film's saying here. I think in this day and age, some hockey players will end up in jail.
I disagree because you don't see checks like that anymore. They've effectively eliminated them from the game, even clean checks. Matt Martin hit a guy today, clean check.
Yes, clean check, and they were talking about, oh, is this a dirty hit? Oh, and Nicoletti even said, no, it's a clean hit. It was a clean hit. I mean, the guy, he was where the hit coming, and he hits him in the body. He doesn't throw his hands up. He doesn't hang towards the head. That's a clean hockey hit. That is clean. That's clean by the sports standard.
But it's like anytime there's a hit, a good clean hit like that, people think that, there's something wrong with it, and they starts a fight. Like I said, they've effectively legislated the physicality out of the game for the most part.
We'll even think about it like this. Every single time a big hit's landed, clean or not clean, when they're clean, they have to be like, oh, I'm not sure what. Oh, let's see. Let's watch this replay. Okay, I think this is a clean hit. They're like walking on eggshells. Okay, I think this is a clean hit over here, guys. We got to be really careful how we're talking about it. Oh yeah, it's like he didn't extend the hands. Yeah, that's a check mark. The guy saw him coming. He wasn't facing in the back of him. Okay, that's a good check mark. Okay, he had the puck. That's a check mark. It's like they're going down a check mark list to say, okay, can we verify based off of like a 10-step process that this is a clean hit? It definitely was a clean hit. Martin gave him, and didn't result in injury either. Alexander saying the score was 152-79.
How does the game get that out of hand? How does a game like that get that out of hand?
Yeah, Alexander saying that is a beautiful looking gym. What if I'm saying, well, I'll give you a bit of credit, TJ. You probably look better in a muscle shirt than Tom Brady. Love you, Grump.
Tom Brady's in good shape.
Tom Brady's got a nice jawline. He's got a nice jawline, nice head of hair. I'll take Tom Brady's head of hair. How about that? You can take the muscles. I'll take the head of hair.
I think he's had hair implants, Tom Brady.
Alexander said sucker punch. It's like a Superman punch. I tell you, sucker punch. I hate those sucker punches. At least it's better when both parties are ready to fight and they say, we are going to engage in mutual combat. I don't like anytime somebody just go bam and punches them right in the face. In the handshake line of all places.
Yeah. He had an agenda. That kid number 4 had an agenda.
Yes, that's where you're supposed to have sportsmanship. You're supposed to go through saying, I'm good. Even if you don't like him, just you can even say, well, screw you. Whatever you want to say. Go, I'm not suggesting you say that, but it's better than just hauling off and hammering somebody. It wasn't like it was one punch, like, hey, I punched him in the gut. I realized what I did was wrong. I stopped. One punch in the gut, a punch to the chin, and then as he's falling to the ground unconscious, I'm trying to punch him again.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like they were guarding one another during the game. I mean, that other kid had like, I don't know, 1.5 feet on him. He looked like the guy number 4 looked like a little scrubini on the end of the bench.
I would have been shocked if he played because he looked like he didn't look all that sweaty. The guy in the front. Yeah, I was about to say, a little small point guard. What a film saying, great fan fight. That dirty little prick is tough. And then what a film saying here, back in the mid-'80s, a player on my team was thrown out of hockey for firing a puck at the ref, and the refs have always been protected.
Well, the refs have total power, so they have no problem doing that. None. And you just got to suck it up.
You can't be firing a puck at the ref if something doesn't
go. Who knows what the ref did? Maybe the ref was, who knows what he was doing or she was doing. Back in the 80s, I'm certain it was a guy.
Alexander said, if Brady can do it, Grump can go out and play.
Oh, yeah, but not well.
What a film said, it will happen when somebody loses it and pulls a Bertuzzi.
Yeah. With
Todd Bertuzzi against the Colorado.
No, not Tyler Bertuzzi.
Todd Bertuzzi with the Colorado Avalanche against the Colorado Avalanche.
Yeah, I thought you said Tyler. I'm sorry.
No, because your connection's bad. You're unable to hear me because you don't have headphones.
No, my connection is fine. I've heard everything you said. You're getting all worked up because I don't know why. You're wearing a muscle shirt.
My muscle shirt. And I just watched a guy get sucker punched, so I feel bad for the big tall guy. I associate with the big tall guys, and little guys like you, grumpy old man, sucker punching us big tall guys gets me worked up.
Okay.
That's really what you got to say.
No problem.
Alexander's saying, Grump, your top 5 rock bands of all time.
Zeppelin, Pink Floyd. I don't know if Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band is a band. I consider them, yes. The Beatles. I don't consider Elvis a band. I was never a huge Rolling Stones fan. I like the Stones, but not top 5 all time. And the Clash. That'll be my 5th.
There it is.
But it could change at any moment, honestly.
My top 5 rock bands, I don't have any.
Do you even know 5 rock bands? That's my question.
Led Zeppelin, Van Halen, AC/DC. I don't know. I'm not sure like which. To be honest with you, I couldn't name 5 rock bands. I can name 3 of
AC/DC
them.
is really good too.
I can name 3 of them, but that's about it.
AC/DC puts on a great live show. Really,
Twisted Sister is a pretty good one. They've got a little hit there, and
I know members.
Queen. There you go, Queen. There you go. Thanks, Alexander. You're coming to help me out. But Grumpy, we're towards the tail end today, man. What else you got to say? Because we're going to be joining everybody live Saturday afternoon, 12 o'clock Eastern Standard Time for Oklahoma State against Baylor. But Grump, what do you have to say before we wrap things up today?
I just want to say love and laughter to everyone who listens, and even those who don't, from TJ and the Grumpy Old Man.
Absolutely. Thank you, Grumpy. Alexander saying, TJ, I'm 37, and I am no more than you on that. For certain you do. I know nothing with bands, not at all. No, you're never going to see me starting a music podcast. I would be maybe the dumb guy who gets taught everything. But yeah, I want to thank everybody for tuning in and watching of TJ and the Grumpy Old Man. If you're a first-time listener, I implore you, stick around a while, subscribe to the channel. Check it out. We go live every single Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and every single Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And to make sure you don't miss out on any of the action, make sure you're subscribed on YouTube, like on Facebook, follow on Twitter. And hey, we also cover large sporting events live. You're going to start to see more of that on this channel, more sporting events when we're reacting to those items. People like them, fans like them, and people who've never seen the channel seem to find us that way as well. So I want to thank you guys for listening, and thank you again, as always, Grumpy Old Man.
My pleasure.